Hello, my name is Roman and I am testing automation expert. I have experience about 10 years in automation, framework building and application testing. Today I'm going to talk about how you choose right programming language when you're starting your new automation project. Why just not to choose some common programming language like Python and build automation with it? It may be a good solution, but maybe not. I was in many companies and in many projects, and each time I see the same problem. Each time I come to the company and manager, director say me, okay, we have some automation suite that was written several years ago, but it's not good for us. It's written in Python and it's a lot of bugs there and we cannot maintain it and we want to write it in Java. I see another problem. I come to the company and manager say me, we have some project in Java, but we don't like it, we don't like to maintain it, we don't like to write code in it, it's have a lot of bugs, let's write it in Python. I heard that somebody told me that Python is the best language to write automation. So we have some contradiction here. Some managers say we want to write our automation in Python, some managers say we want to write our automation in Java. So what you should do? A lot of automation developers and a lot of managers think that Python is a default choice to write automation and to develop automation framework. If you Google, you will see that Python is best. But is it? And I say no, it's not the best. Somebody said that Python, you learn Python in 5 days, in 2 days. You can take undergraduate, or you can some unexperienced person teach him Python in 2 days and he will start to write automation. But is it correct? Is it right? Python is programming language that have very simple syntaxes. It have very good libraries and you can do everything in that language. And this is a big problem because unexperienced developers starting to write code and they write code very fast. But they don't think about object-oriented programming, they don't think about testing, they don't use some design patterns. They just write code as is and it works. But one day they collect so much math in their project that they cannot maintain it. Each time they insert some code line in one area and it's break another area, and in most cases you can find this issue just only in runtime and you need to debug it. And this is issues like instead of passing integer you're passing string and everything falling, but your automation test running 5-7 minutes and you're wasting time to catch it. So for example, if you're using Java programming language, you will catch it during compilation and you will catch such errors in seconds. So Python, it's very easy to learn, but you must be super experienced developer to write good code in Python, and this is a big problem in it. So let's discuss how you choose best fitting programming language to your project and what you can do that your project will stable and you will able to develop new tests fast and you will able to develop new framework features in a fast way. So if developer writing project, for example, in Java, and you wrote your automation code in Python or JavaScript or something else, developer will say, listen, I understand that if you have a bug, I understand that we have a defect, and I understand that I need to debug it, but I don't have time for it. You wrote your tests in Python, but I don't know Python. Even I know Python, I don't have IDE. I need to install IDE, and it will take from me 2 hours, and you need to teach me. So please, I'm out of time. Help me and just investigate it instead of me. Here we come to the first rule. Try to use the same language that other developing teams use. For example, if developers writing code in Java, write automation framework in Java. If developers using C#, use C#. In case you're choosing a different language that developers use, it will create some misunderstandings between you and developers, and they will want to debug your code or write additional tests to your code. It will be a big issue for you. The next rule. In case your company write in several languages, choose language that most mature and fit other teams. What does it mean? If you writing automation for backend and developers writing code in backend, and developers writing code in Java, so use Java language. If developers writing code in Python, choose Python language. Okay, some exceptions. If developers writing code in C and developing backend or some services in C and C++, you should think twice if you want to choose C++ as your automation language. Maybe here it's better to work in Python. Maybe here you will achieve better results. It's a very complex issue. The first thing that you need to do to educate your team to write in Python, you need to teach them object-oriented programming, you need to teach them test-driven development, and you should understand test-driven development, and you should understand object-oriented programming, and you should think a lot about how you will design your system. Else you will lose control on your project, and one day manager will come to you and say, we have so much defects in our automation framework, let's rewrite it in Java, let's rewrite it in other language because Python is garbage. It's happening a lot of time, so you need to build your professionalism of your team. So in case you're developing in Java and you're developing in Python, the Python teams should be much more professional than developers in Java, because in Java you have compiler that catch a lot of issues. That in Java you must write object-oriented. In Java you cannot write scripts, you just must write some classes, and it's Java makes you to organize code better than Python. In Python you just write the mess, and don't think that I don't like Python. I developing automation project today in Python, and it's very powerful language, and you're able to do things that it's much harder to do in, for example, in Java. But I am very experienced programmer, and I am working also with very experienced team, and we're using test-driven development, and we're using object-oriented programming, and things working. at least now. Let's make some summary. The first thing, don't choose default programming language just because other teams using it, just because it's written in Google, just because somebody's told you use JavaScript, use Python. Don't do it. Think. Try to use programming languages that developers use. Okay, so developing in Java, so try to use Java. Developing in Python, try to use Python, and so on. Also, we didn't talk about exceptions, we didn't talk about some special cases, and we will cover them in our next sessions. So thank you, goodbye.